What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota and welcome back to Cologne. Today we're going to be looking at and reviewing replicas by the Fireplace. Let's get into it. So this is going to be a requested fragrance. Someone requested this after watching my relaxing day videos. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So first thing we're going to start off with is how we always start. We're going to be showing off the atomizer on this one. And the atomizer is okay. It doesn't have a real long burst, doesn't have a real wide burst. A lot kind of comes out, but it's not really anything too special. But what you get when this fragrance gets in the air is you are immediately hit with a warm, smoky, very wood-based fragrance that just smells absolutely amazing. Right off the top of the fragrance, you get a little bit of sweetness, you get a whole lot of those wood notes, you get a whole lot of a smokiness and a little bit of almost like a burnt coal kind of vibe to it. Kind of weird how that one's done up. That's a nice little touch to it, but that's just what I get off of it. So one thing I will say that I absolutely love about this fragrance is this is one of the fragrances that does not smell the same on your skin as it does in the air. This is one of the fragrances that smells a little more harsh, a little more rough around the edges when it gets close up on your skin. But when this fragrance gets pushed out into the air, it's very nice, it's very sweet, still has a lot of that smokiness, but a lot of like that kind of charred wood that you could get out of this does get tamed down quite a bit, especially in the air. On the skin, like I said, it's very rough. It's one that has a little bit of harshness to it. It's one that can be a little sharp, but again, that's only if you're like right up on it. The moment you get a couple inches of separation on this, the fragrance really turns into something else. And that's almost one of the things that I really like about it the most is I like fragrances that can do stuff like that. Another fragrance that I just talked about recently on the channel is Oak and Bourbon. It's another one that is very similar to this in the regards of what you get on the skin is not what you get in the air. So if you buy this and you decide to put this on, understand that whenever you put it on, it is going to be very harsh for the first 10-12 minutes, especially on your skin. All right, so we're going to get into the notes of this real quick. The top notes on this are going to be cloves, pink pepper, and orange blossom. You do get a lot of the cloves off of this. You don't really get any pink pepper, orange blossom. I do not really get any florally undertone out of this fragrance whatsoever. The cloves to me kind of gives it a little bit of maybe a little bit of that burnt edge that you can kind of get off of it. The middle notes on this are going to be chestnuts, guaiac wood, and juniper. And you get a heavy dose of the chestnuts and to me a heavy dose of the guaiac wood as well. So the chestnuts to me is not something I can really pick up on the skin. As I said, this fragrance does something weird where it kind of goes out into the air more. When it floats through the air, that's whenever you can really pick it up the most. And the base notes on this are going to be vanilla, Peru balsam, and cashmeran. And the biggest thing that you get off of that obviously is going to be some of the vanilla. It's going to be some of that Peru balsam because that balsam is what's going to help it get a really heavy dose of that smokiness. And obviously the vanilla is what's going to sweet this up a little bit. And this one is about as straightforward as it gets. As far as change from opening to the dry down, this thing has one of the smallest changes out there. The only real change is as it dries down a little bit, it gets a touch sweeter. It loses a little bit of that smoke. But other than that, opening to dry down, this is pretty much what you're left with, and this is how it's pretty well going to stay all the way through it. But that's completely okay because this is one of those fragrances where if you're looking for this fragrance, if you're looking to buy this one, you are going to want that sweet, smoky, burnt wood, kind of savory, memory in a bottle kind of smell. And for the most part, that's exactly what this gives you. So now real quick, what we're going to get into is going to be the price, performance, and the availability. The price on this thing, this is a 100 ml bottle. I want to say off Joma, you could pick these up from about the $80 to $90 range. Most average retailers aren't going to have this. This is more going to be like an online retail thing. Now, as far as performance goes, this performer is kind of weird on the skin, you could say. So as I said, it's on the skin scent. It's very harsh. It does do better in the air. But that's where this fragrance kind of likes to live, is on the skin. So that's where some of the people that wear this fragrance, it's going to come across a little harsh to them. It's going to come across a little bit of a hard wear, especially being an eau de toilette concentration. This is one of those where you may want to put a little bit of extra on, but I will advise against that. This is one of the fragrances that I feel like does better with a refresh halfway through the day. Maybe, freshen up a little bit, because once you put about 5 or 6 sprays of this on, this fragrance can become extremely overwhelming. But as far as pure longevity on this fragrance goes, I get about 6 hours out of this. For an eau de toilette concentration, that's not that bad. As far as projection and sillage go, the sillage is pretty good. The sillage gives you about 2 to 3 feet. Projection, it does set closer to the skin, but it doesn't set right on the skin. So like I said, that's where this one at times can be a little bit of a hard wear. That's why for me, when I do like to wear this one the most, a lot of times it is just going to be around the house. It's going to be one that you can just relax with. It's going to be one you don't have to worry about anything. So that's exactly why I went in that relaxing day video though. But speaking of this being eau de toilette concentration, I do have to warn something about people want to wear this. As you can see, this is some of the darkest, richest looking oil that I've seen in a bottle. This stuff, it looks very thick, it looks very heavy. If you wear lighter clothes, this will stain clothes and it will not come out. So when you put this on, putting on very sparingly, I would suggest skin, nowhere near around the face area. I would definitely keep it on skin though. If you do put it on something, put it on clothes that are gonna be darker, or maybe a jacket or something like that, because this is definitely a winter fragrance as well. The when you would want to wear this is gonna be right now. This screams winter. This does not do well in spring. It does not do well in summer. It does, even though it is by the fireplace, it does not do well in heat. But now what we can circle back to and touch on a lot of the dry down that you get out of this fragrance. So as I said, there's not the biggest change of this fragrance. One of the biggest notices that you may get in the dry down is when this gets a little bit sweeter. The chestnut note does get a little bit louder. Usually when you first put it on, you don't really get a whole lot of the chestnuts. You don't get a whole lot of that kind of balsam feel. But the more it dries down, the more that gets a little bit louder. It gets a little less smoky, but it smells a little more of a better smoke, if that makes sense. So when you first put it on, the smoke can come across very harsh. A lot of the wood notes, they are very intimidating on the nostrils. But as it dries down, this fragrance really softens up. And for about that 4 or 5 hour mark where this thing gets really, really good, it's smooth there. It doesn't smell synthetic. This thing smells very photorealistic. This thing smells incredibly natural. And that is when you wear this, you literally smell just like you've been sitting by a fireplace. You smell like you stayed up all night, sitting outside, just burning logs, having a good time with some buddies. And that's exactly what this fragrance is kind of intended to be, even from them. They want that smoky cabin, maybe middle of the woods kind of vibe. And that's kind of what, like I said, is what you get. To me, this would smell more like a hickory roasted fireplace is kind of the best thing that I can describe that I get out of this. Because like I said, the smoke note is very powerful. The wood note is very powerful. Some of that sweet and chestnut, it's there, but it is very tame until it gets further into the dry down, and then it becomes more prominent. And that's when this fragrance gets way smoother, it gets way sweeter. And that's where this fragrance will become more mass appealing. When you first put it on, it is going to be harsh. Not a lot of people is probably going to love it, but you give it 30 minutes or so, and this fragrance will be an absolute stunner. But yeah, if you are someone out there that is looking for a woody, beautiful, sweet, smoky, that is just going to be one of the best lounge around the house and just cuddle up and feel good type of fragrances, this is going to be one for you. This checks almost every box I would have for a fragrance. So really no complaints there. But I do think that is going to get us wrapped up on today's video. Go ahead and get in this one more time, see if the camera wants to focus in. No. But again, this is going to be Replicas by the Fireplace. This fragrance is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it for anyone who likes those beautiful, sweet, smoky fragrances. But yeah, that is going to get us wrapped up. As always, thank you everyone for watching it. Thank you everyone for subscribing, for sticking around, staying tuned, watching the videos, supporting the channel, listening to me yap about how stuff smells. I genuinely appreciate it. And nice enough, we are extremely close to 700 again. Thank you for all the support from 6 to 700. This is the quickest the channel's ever grown. We're going to be doing another giveaway at 700. And if you want to get in on that giveaway, it's as simple as possible. You just got to subscribe to the channel. Once we hit 700, we'll roll it out and we'll get that going from there. But yeah, again, thank you everyone for watching the channel, supporting the channel, all the feedback. I truly appreciate it. If you want to know where this fragrance is going to be, I will leave a link to it down in the description. Every fragrance I review will always have links to them in the description. So yeah, that's going to get us wrapped up. As always, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.